In this lecture, we're going to derive several properties of the sigma notation. Doing this will involve doing things like writing out several terms of different series, then rearranging them, then coming to a conclusion. This can get a little visually messy, but it's something that comes up in both mathematical proofs and in computer science. So I really encourage you to take time to walk through the arguments slowly, pausing if you have to, so that you get comfortable with these kinds of manipulations. So let's take a closer look at this before we jump in and try to verify that it's true. The first thing you should notice is that the starting and ending points of each series are the same. This won't work if the number of terms in each series is different. The second thing you should notice is that I didn't specify a numeric starting point. In other words, this works regardless of where you start or end the counting. Now, with that in mind, what this is saying is that the sum of two series is equal to the sum of their individual terms. This is especially convenient from a computer science perspective. If the sum of the term formulas can be simplified in a way that reduces the number of calculations required to evaluate each term in the series, then you could potentially get some significant improvements in the time required to calculate the sum for specific values of m and n. So to confirm this, we're going to start, let me clean up here a little bit. There we go. We're going to start by writing out each summation in its respective expanded form. So the first one is going to become a sub m plus a sub m plus 1 plus a sub m plus 2 plus so on out to a sub n minus 1 plus a sub n. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the b's. So this is plus b sub m plus b sub m plus 1 plus so on out to bn minus 1 plus b sub n. Now I'm going to rearrange things. Addition is commutative, right? I could rearrange these terms in any order that I like. Well, I'm going to rearrange them so that the two m terms are together, the two m plus 1 terms together, and so on all the way out to the end. So this will be a sub m plus b sub m plus a sub m plus 1 plus b sub m plus 1 plus so on out to a n minus 1 plus b n minus 1 plus a n plus b n. Now, if we kind of group these, right, you see what this is saying to do. This is the sum of this term plus this term and out to these terms. All right, well, how do we say add up a bunch of terms that we have formulas for? Well, we do that with the sigma notation. And so this is the same as the sum k equals m to n. Notice that hasn't changed, right? We started at m here and ended at n. And what are the terms? Well, the terms are a sub k plus b sub k. And that's exactly where we wanted to end up. So if seeing this one makes you think of the distributive property, where you can factor out something that all the terms inside parentheses have in common, then you're on the right track. That's going to be a key step in proving this result. In fact, I'd like you to kind of try pausing this and see if you can write that out. It's going to be very similar to what we did in the previous proof. So I'm really going to take the same approach here. I'm going to write this first series out into its expanded form. So I'll do c a sub m plus c a sub m plus 1 plus so on out to c a n minus 1 plus c a n. Now apply that distributive property. Pull out that c. This is c times a sub n plus a sub m plus 1 plus all the way out to a n minus 1 plus a sub n. And now look at what we've got here. We have a sum of a collection of terms. Awesome. I can write that using the sigma notation. This is C times the sum k equals m to n of a sub k. And that is exactly where I wanted to end up. Right? That's what we wanted to show. Sometimes we need a series to start at a value other than the one we were given. This is especially useful in situations where we're trying to prove things involving two different series, and we need to have them both starting at the same initial index value. So in the next lecture, we're going to see how we can accomplish this by changing the variable that we're using.